Welcome to the AP Now podcast, the podcast that covers trends, insights, and emerging issues impacting every accounts payable function. Your host, Mary Schaeffer, is the founder of AP Now, a B2B digital information and learning company focused on all issues related to AP. Stay tuned as Mary and her guests discuss the business intelligence you need to ensure a cost-effective, technologically efficient, fraud-resistant, regulatory compliant accounts payable function. Without further ado, let's dive right in.
Welcome to episode 77 of the AP Now podcast. I'm Mary Schaeffer from AP Now, and today I'm going to talk about simple analytics, how you can use Excel to find duplicate vendors in the master vendor file. This is a topic I've wanted to talk about for a long time, and it's also going to serve as the basis for a number of different recordings that I'm going to do about finding duplicates. So we'll go into a little bit more detail in this one, and then there'll be additional postings on our YouTube channel, much shorter, showing different applications. So, okay, duplicates in the master vendor file. They're a problem. They're a problem for almost every company. And the goal is, of course, never to get them in there. But sometimes, even despite the fact that we're using best practices, they end up in there. So periodically, best practice organizations will go through the data in the master vendor file to try and identify the duplicates. So how are you going to do that in a simple manner, not, spending hours and hours working on this not so interesting task, if I'm going to be honest. So you want to take your data from the master vendor file as your first step and just dump it into an Excel spreadsheet. And then you'll have your data, you'll have company name, a legal name, DBA, street address, city, state, and then additional information. Hopefully you'll have things in there like an email address to contact people or to send an invoice to, maybe a phone number, etc. So anyway, you've got all your information dumped into your Excel spreadsheet. Now what? So you're going to pick a column that you're going to look for duplicates in. And I'll come back and talk about that in a little bit more detail, but I just want to get your, the basics down. So click the top of the column that you're going to focus on. So for this particular example, let's say we're going to focus on email addresses. And I like to focus on email addresses whenever I can when I'm looking for duplicates, because it's the one piece of information that's not likely to be duplicated. Two people won't have the same email address. They may have the same mailing address. They may have the same even company name occasionally, but they won't have the same email address. So click on the column that you're going to pick on. And like I say, for this simple example, we're going to talk about email addresses. Click on the top of that. Now, make sure when you've got your Excel spreadsheet opened that you're on the Home tab. So you're on the Home tab, you click on the column, and let's say it's column B, for example. And then when you look at the Home tab, look all the way over, and about a little more than halfway over, you'll see something that says conditional formatting. And on my computer, I don't know if on yours it will, has a little tiny thing that looks like a spreadsheet next to it. So click on conditional formatting. When you do that, another a little screen will pop up, and you want to pick the first items, which will be highlight cell rules. So you click on that, and another little screen pops up, and it will say, has a number of different things. And the last item on that list is duplicate items, and you want to click on that. So now you've done all the clicking that you're going to have to do, and it's going to ask you to select how you want to identify duplicates. Do you want them to be red or green? It gives you a few options. I always pick red because, well, it's the default color, and it's pretty easy. So you pick on red, or whatever, and you click on it. And what this will do is at this point, it will identify all the different duplicates that are in your file. But, you've got a file that maybe has, 1,000, 6,000, some huge number of entries. And you don't want to go through, looking item by item. So after you've got your duplicates highlighted in red, you want to go back. You want to select the whole file, all the information, and you want to sort the data. And what you want to sort it by is the particular column that you are highlighting. So we're talking about column B. And then you want to, it'll say ascending, descending, but you should also have an option of putting the colors or no colors on top or bottom. And so you want to put them on top or bottom, whatever's easiest for you. And then once you have the items that are all red, for example, let's say at the bottom, then you want to highlight just that part of the of your results that are red, and you want to sort them and sort them in alphabetical order. And that way, your duplicates will be right next to each other, so you won't be running all over. Okay, so once you've got your data down to that point, then you need to go through and look item by item to say, is it really a duplicate? Is it not a duplicate? The answer will vary, but you'll have to use your what you know about the company, what you know about your vendors to figure that out. So we talked about that we're going to be looking for duplicate vendors in the master vendor file. So what areas can we focus on to potentially identify them? Well, I mentioned already that I like email addresses because email addresses tend not to be duplicated, but you may not have email addresses. So then you might want to focus on phone numbers, because phone numbers are like email addresses. It's unlikely that two people are going to have the same number, unless, of course, the only number that you have is the main company number. And then, it's not as good, but it puts you in the right direction. After that, you might want to try vendor name, but vendor name can be tricky, even though it's the most obvious if you're looking for duplicates in the master vendor file. You have to make sure that people put the vendor name in using your strict coding standard. So, if somebody has in there, for example, something simple like the Gap, and somebody else put it in as Gap, there's a good chance it won't show up, and it definitely won't show up using my little simple techniques here. Another item that you might want to focus on is street address. But again, there can be some legitimate duplicates where two organizations have the same street address. If you've gotten a TIN, a taxpayer identification number, and you've got that in your master vendor file, that's another item that you can focus on, you can do your sorting on, because again, not likely that you'll have two different entities that have the same taxpayer identification number, unless it's the same company. And then it might be two different branches, and you're going to have to decide how you want to figure that out in your master vendor file, how you want to enter them. So let's go over one more last time real quickly. You're going to make sure you're on your home tab. You're going to have dumped all your data into the master vendor file. You're going to click on the column that you're going to use to look for duplicates. And then you're going to look for conditional formatting. You're going to click on that. And then you're going to select the item, which is the first item, highlight cell rules. And then when the next little screen pops up, you're going to highlight duplicate values. Now, occasionally people will say, well, what do you have to bother pick a column? Why can't you just pick take the whole spreadsheet and look for all sorts of duplicates? Because that way you could find more than one at the same time. You could have email address, phone number, etc. The problem with doing that is you're going to have a lot of items that are going to be duplicate and legitimate duplicates. So for example, if you have a column that says city and a column that says state, well, you're going to have, virtually every one of those items will be duplicate, because, you'll have many many vendors, for example, in Los Angeles. So you don't want to do that. The other reason that you don't want to do that is if you try and do it, if you try and click on that, and the computer will do it if you ask it to, it will take forever looking for those duplicates. So even if you're saying, well, I'm only looking for duplicates in the email field, and I don't care if it finds the other duplicates, I'm going to ignore them, your computer will hang. And ask me how I know this. I'm speaking from personal experience. So you should hopefully benefit from my little mistake down that road, and your computer just hangs and the little thing goes round and round. Okay, so that's it for now. That's it for finding duplicates in the master vendor file. Like I say, we'll have some more of these in the future. We'll be talking about other areas where you might want to find duplicates. Of course, they'll be shorter because you'll have learned this by then, and so we'll have them posted on YouTube as our accounts payable sound bites. Okay, that's it for today. I'd like to thank you for listening. If you like this episode, please give us a thumbs up or a like, or share this episode with your colleagues. If you want to be alerted to new episodes, you can either subscribe to the series or sign up for our free e-zine. I hope to see you again on another AP Now podcast. Until then, be safe, everyone.